Welcome to The Intuitive Therapist with Janis Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist here on the Intuitive Therapist podcast. And I'm glad y'all are here today because I want to talk about something that's come up in my radar recently, especially in talking with some clients who have regretted things they've done and wondered why certain things happen in their life. And I want to talk about the topic today, which is that there are no mistakes, only choices. It's important that you hear this message today in the event that you feel like you are maybe helpless or that you feel like a victim of life, that you can't get out from under yourselves to change your life, because you can. And I believe in you, and I want to teach you how to do that through this and all the other podcast episodes that I offer. Accepting life as it is can be one of the most daunting tasks to do, and it can be one of the most liberating choices that you make. And I will be the first to admit, y'all, I really had a hard time accepting life as it was, and it caused me such pain. Once I accepted life as it is, and I don't mean settling for life, I mean just accepting it as I experienced it, my life radically changed for the better. So many of my clients struggle to reconcile the reality of what is with what they wish could be or could have been. They lament, they grieve, they pine for what they wish would have materialized that didn't, and for their unachieved dreams they just wish they would feel less haunting and painful. And for many years of my life, y'all, I promise you, I was stuck in the space of wishing for a better past. And at the same time, I wondered why. That wonderful, useless question, in a lot of ways, why? We ask that question for ourselves in the universe because we don't understand why something's happened, or we're shocked that it has, right? I used to ask why certain things happen in my life, especially those experiences that caused me pain, the ones where I totally felt thrown off course 100%. And I was trying to make sense of my reality. So I asked the question, why? But guess what? That question, unless we are really open to the answers, that question does not serve us. It puts us in a victim mode instead of a victor, a proactive mode. I couldn't figure out how to stop struggling with what was happening in my life years ago and what I wished would happen and didn't happen. And the question constantly was, why? Why me? Why this? Why? Why does this have to happen? I don't understand. I'm a good person. I don't understand. Anytime I got into that spiral, I got nowhere in my life. Much like my clients do, I lived in a perpetual state of discontent, confusion, and disillusionment. I wondered why I couldn't win for losing in my life. Years ago, I felt like I couldn't make a right decision to save my life. And that was for a long time in my life that I felt that way. I couldn't get out of this spiral of thinking that I was helpless to change my life. I didn't have a good grasp on myself. And I felt like, and it was kind of true, I was being judged by my family. I felt like I was being judged by my friends. And to be honest, I was judging myself harsher than anybody else was. Because the people that cared about me, they only wanted good things for me. But I was kind of stuck. My mom, who is going to be 80 next April, she just turned 79. She wouldn't want me to push the clock ahead too much. She is the love of my life, just like my dad is. And she is one of the most well-balanced people that I know. And her wisdom is simple. She's not, but her wisdom is. And her gravitational pull has always been to err on the side of reality and what's happening now. And she has these sayings we call momisms. And they're simple and profound. And her momisms calling us to sink our feet into the now, to not worry about the future, to know that we can handle what's to come. So she'll say things like, I'll worry about it when I need to. Or if it happens, it happens. Or let's see what happens. Her ability to think this way keeps her from being a stressed out mess like the rest of us. And I'm telling you, it is amazing. And when we've talked about her ability to think this way, she tells me that she just chooses not to go into future thinking. She doesn't want to. She said, I don't want to have to worry before anything happens. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't control that. The only thing I have influence over is now and how I feel in my now. So I'm going to choose to feel calm and be aware of options. And then we'll deal with whatever happens when it happens. And finally, I have learned to live by my mother's wisdom. It took me a long, long time. And to be honest, it's far less emotionally taxing for me to live by her code than mine, the one I had, which was high anxiety, focus on the worst, spiral into obsessive thinking, and get nowhere. I mean, that was me. So I have really done a 180. Every now and then I get tripped up. I'm human. I get into a crazy spiral of obsessive thinking, especially if I can't resolve something immediately. Then I just have to work through it. But for the most part, I'm pretty even-keeled. Now I say, hey, it is what it is. Now what? So when something happens, I know it's useful for me. I don't take it as something happening to me or at me. Thinking that way gives me options, y'all, and I want y'all to have options. I don't feel confined by worries or fears when I ask myself and go into victim mode of, why? Why does this keep happening to me? The minute I shift into and lean into what I can learn from an experience, how I can grow from it, what I can do differently to create a different outcome if a similar circumstance happens, then I'm good. I have room to breathe. And my hope is that by the end of today's episode, you too will lean into the wisdom of accepting what is and what has happened in the past and realize that the choices that you make before, during, and after an experience makes all the difference in the world when it comes to living a peaceful life. And once you understand that there are no mistakes, only choices and learning opportunities, your life is going to run a lot smoother. I've learned 2 things in my life that I teach clients about. I've learned a lot, y'all. But these 2 things in particular that relate to the topic today, I teach my clients about a lot. And one of them is, it is what it is. Again, simple momism. It is what it is. Now what? And the second thing is that there are no mistakes, only choices and learning opportunities. It is what it is, right? What can we learn from it? So if we lean into the belief that reality comes down to only our perception of it, and if that perception of it causes us pain, isn't it possible to shift our perception in such a way that we don't experience pain and we experience pleasure? Isn't it possible? I don't mean that we alter reality, because you really can't. You can alter your perception. You can add details. You can add shiny things or really bad things in a way that allows you to feel one way or another. But I want you to be able to figure out how to change what you believe about your reality's negative impact on you to a positive one. I want you to be able to make that shift, as well as proactively and positively defining who you are because of your reality. We don't even realize something happens to us and maybe we feel like really anxious or worried or feel like shit, and then guess what? Because we feel that way, then we give ourselves negative labels. Like, I'm a loser, I'm not worth loving, I'm worthless, I can't get anything right. Defining yourself in that way doesn't help. If you can define yourself in a positive way, you're going to get farther. So to get most out of life, you've got to learn to trust yourself and how to walk through the world and how you walk through the world, to notice where your discomfort is and to shift into comfort. So figure out how you live. It's not enough to walk mindlessly through life. Why do you make the decisions you make? Who are you really every day? How do you wake up? What's your intention and motivation? You've got to learn awareness of self and self-acceptance. And again, it doesn't mean that you settle for outcomes that happen. Like you're like, okay, yeah, whatever, I'm helpless. What I mean is that you learn to accept what is. And if you don't like the result, you've got to figure out a way to create a different outcome the next time something happens. One that you'll feel better about. So this is kind of planning and prep. It's first step is accepting what is. Second step is identifying how you feel and who you think you are. The third step is, now what? What do we do with this? And if I'm not feeling the way I want to feel, what do I need to do right now to feel the way I want to feel? Reality is a bridge to a better future, and it's a baseline for us. It isn't permanent. I tell people that all the time. I used to struggle with that too. I used to feel like if something wasn't working out, then, oh shit, this is permanent. But it's not. Nothing except death and change are permanent. Some people would say death and taxes. That's the joke. But I'm going to say death and change. Those two things are permanent. The things that happen in life are temporary, y'all. Everything is temporary. And I could say that with 100% certainty because your life conditions are not your permanent reality. You can change your reality and your life conditions with each and every decision you make from moment to moment. And that is where choice comes into play. Is it possible to use reality, the power of now, to create a different future? And if so, how do you actually do that? At the heart of accepting life as it is the journey to your own self-acceptance. Who are you really? What do you really believe about yourself and your life and your potential? What do you value? What's important to you? Why do you value that? Why is it important to you? What drives your decisions every day? Your need to feel certainty, variety, love, and connection, significance, growth, and contribution. And if you don't understand what I mean by all those things, go back and listen to the podcast called, 6 Human Needs, Why You Do What You Do, and it's going to explain everything, and you can understand what motivates your decision making. What has been your life experiences, and what have you learned about yourself from what's happened in your life? What are your deal breakers in relationship? If you could do, be, or have anything in your life, what would those things be? Anything. What's on your bucket list and why? What are you truly scared of and what excites you? I could go on and on and on with all these questions, y'all. I ask questions for a living. That's what I do as a therapist. But I think you get the picture. So if you want to take some time and pause this recording, go back to the part where I start to ask questions, maybe about 5 minutes ago, and write the answers to the questions. Get some insight about you. Really, really look into yourself. Beyond self-acceptance lies owning your pain and vulnerability and hurt. And really looking at who you are and the patterns and the things that happen to you in your life are going to help you own your pain. Because your pain belongs to you, it doesn't belong to anybody else. And once you get that, look, I'm not saying people don't do bad things. I'm not saying people haven't done bad things to you. And there comes a time where you have to take responsibility for the degree, the duration, and the kind of pain that you carry around with you. I'm in essence asking you to take responsibility for your pain. And in doing that, you can figure out a way to eliminate it. In my previous podcast, it was about holding on to your past and how that prevents you from receiving your destiny. It was about forgiveness. And if you haven't heard that one, please go back and listen to it. It will help you cement today's podcast content. If you believe that life doesn't happen to you or at you, if you believe that it does, I have to tell you, I believe that life happens for you. When I was in the mindset of life happening to me or at me, I experienced more pain than I could imagine. But if you're able to use things in your life for your life, you could totally change how you live your life. So how can you own what's happened in your life in such a way that it propels you forward? Where you determine that your pain, suffering, and struggle has a purpose beyond just making you feel like shit and where life sucks. and that you can't do anything to change it. When you think about it, don't we all have an end game? That ultimate goal, challenge, or dream you want to slay to make your life more meaningful and complete? We all have a supreme destiny, that place where we're supposed to end up so that we can live our best life, the most fulfilling life, a life where we're in the wheelhouse of our soul's purpose. We all have that. And you may not believe that if you feel lost and you don't feel like you have your purpose, but I promise you that you do. And here's the deal. Life isn't a straight shot. Hell no, you have figured that out. It's a bunch of zigzags. It's the most winding, crazy ride you'll ever have. And you'll have unbelievable highs and the deepest lows you can imagine. You'll have extraordinarily amazing moments of insight and other moments of deep-seated confusion. You'll have clarity about next steps, how to move forward, and then bam, life hits you with a whammy so freaking big and powerful that it not only pummels the wind right out of you, but boy, it knocks you to your knees in one fell swoop. I can tell you, I have experienced that a number of times. Your job is to get yourself back up and keep going. There are no wrong choices in life, y'all. None. Even if your choices land you in jail for years or a lifetime, your choice gives you the opportunity to better yourself, to learn something about yourself while you're biding your time in a jail cell. Let's say you get in the wrong marriage. Let's say you get in the wrong relationship. You take the wrong job. Whatever it is that you think is wrong or something that doesn't work out, it's all leading to the same path. There are no wrong paths. There are no mistakes, and failure doesn't end with a period at the end of it. As if like you screw up once and that's it, you're done. No more chances for you. Hell no. Failure is the most amazing opportunity for learning. You can honor and celebrate your failures as you would your victories with the same reverence. People don't get that. You see, failure and loss wakes you up to your future. It says, do something different because what you're doing now isn't working, or this didn't work. Try this way. Life is a combination of detours, y'all. It's just how it is. Let me ask you a question. If you could say anything to your younger self, giving your younger self any piece of advice, maybe it's a bunch of pieces of advice, and you believe that it would have made a difference in your life, what would that advice be? I don't often ask people that, but I think it's a really cool question. So I decided that for the sake of being transparent with y'all, that I would share with you what I would say to my younger self. Because to be honest, if I had a me at my age when I was younger, my life would have been on an entirely different trajectory. And guess what? I wasn't supposed to. No mistake in that. I was supposed to go through everything that I was to go through for karmic debt reasons, for soul learning reasons, for connection with other people and helping them learn, that I know there are no mistakes. So if you want to go ahead and pause this recording and write down your words of wisdom to yourself, by all means do that. Or when we're done today, by all means take the time to do that, because it is so important. It will help you understand and communicate with yourself in a way that you probably typically don't. So here's what I would tell my younger self. I wrote down a few things. Janis, believe it or not, you are going to be just fine. You're going to experience some very painful things in your life that are going to seem like you can't recover from them, but you will. You're going to travel on a path that will lead you to a unique and special career, so just follow the breadcrumbs and trust. Don't focus on why something's happened to you. Rather, focus on asking different questions like, why not? And what can I do with what has just happened to change my life? Always ask yourself questions that give you options, because you're never stuck. Remember, if you ask good questions, you get good answers. Trust yourself first before you trust anyone else. Because once you learn to trust yourself first, trusting anyone else will never be an issue. You'll know in a millisecond whether or not someone else is trustworthy. Your gut instinct is always right. Give thanks to your pain, Janis. Give thanks to everything in your life because it's all here to serve you for your growth and for your life purpose. Nothing that has happened, no choice you've made, no decision you avoided, and no action you've taken was wrong. It's all part of your path. It's all part of your growth. It's all part of your development. Relax and steer clear of comparing yourself to others. For most, it's unavoidable because when we believe that we lack something in our lives and we believe and see that somebody else has what we believe we want, we start to give credence to our limiting beliefs. We let that grim reaper out, our inner critic. Woo! Trust me, that sucker is hard to rein in once he's got traction. Janis, do something every day to affirm your worth. Don't rely on other people to create certainty for you because they never will and they never can. Do it for yourself first. Always for yourself first. It's okay to screw up, Janis. We've all done it. The most amazing and accomplished people have failed more times than they can say that they've succeeded. But if you can handle failure and can learn from it, when success hits you, you'll be able to handle that like a freaking rock star. Always stay humble and kind like that song. You are no better and no worse than anybody else. You are no worse off than anybody else, and you are not more privileged. Open doors for people. Smile. Compliment them. Donate to charity. Give of yourself to someone in need. Always show love and compassion to yourself first, because only then you can know how to give and receive it to others and from others. Trust your instincts 100% of the time. Never doubt your hunches because they will always be in your best interest. Failure exists to point you in a different direction. Know that. Trust that. There is beauty in everything in life if you choose to see it that way. Janis, there's always an open door to somewhere else. Always an opportunity when you don't see one. Always a helping hand when you feel alone if you just reach out for it. And always a way out, even if you believe there isn't. Never underestimate the power of mistakes, Janis. They are the gold mine of the soul, and they are our beacons of light when we are in the deepest, darkest emotional places. I hope this podcast today has allowed you to think differently about your life, to consider that everything that happens in your life, including your choices, is purposeful and meaningful and usable. If you feel like you're struggling to accept what is, if you feel like you need a reframe, a redirect, if you feel like you need to figure out a way to accept and move forward, give me a call. Reach out to me via email, janis@janisrcohen.com, or call me at 404-558-3971. It'd be my pleasure to help you. Also, the readings that I do, the intuitive therapeutic psychic readings, are pretty amazing. Even 30 minutes can help you create massive shifts. So email me for a reading, janis@janisrcohen.com, or call me at 404-558-3971. I'd be happy to talk to you about any aspect of your life, health, money, relationships, job, a move, business development, whatever it is. I'm able to tap into spirit and your spirit guide team to give you some leads and ideas and insight. And please, if you like what you hear on my podcast, please go visit iTunes and rate and review my iTunes podcast, The Intuitive Therapist. The more reviews I get, the farther reach I get, and the more people I can help with my content. As always, I wish you a wonderful day, a blessed week, and always live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist with Janis R. Cohen. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend and subscribe, rate, and review at iTunes.